around the world. It is MPJ special night time because we have a special guest, and that is Roberto from Danger Zones. I was going to try and pronounce your last name then. I went, maybe not.
Jody.
No. So, Roberto, welcome to Musical People and Journeys. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this show. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we just put in context. We reviewed your album "Shut Up," and overall it was pretty well received. So actually, I think listening back to your album a few times in preparation for the interview, I think to myself, actually, this is better than I give it credit for at the time. So, but anyway, I still like the album, but I just like it a little bit more now. Bizarrely, when the pressure's off and you relax in the car, and you go, oh, okay, that's fine. So, listen, you've been around longer than I have, really, from that perspective, because you.
It's not that old, Nigel.
Maybe because I'm older.
But I think he probably is, because he was playing in a band in the 80s, and I was just listening to music in the 80s. So,
Still could have been the same age.
No, look at my dark hair. Look, I mean, mind you, but the beard's getting a bit.
Yeah, we started really early with the band. We were just a band at school, and we started to play together, and then we were going, changing, people inside the band, and we grew up together, and we did our first EP in 1984 called "Victim of Time."
Yeah.
That was our first attempt to make something, and actually was well received. And in the meantime, we changed also the style, because changing some members of the band, and as I was saying before with Trish, we started to really listen to this new sound that was coming from the United States, and so we shifted to the hard rock sound of the United States that was coming from, Dokken, Rat, and all those kind of bands that were huge at that time. And so, we started a long time ago.
So who was your, for you to bring out this EP and for you to form the band when really kind of, that style of rock was really kind of early in the early 80s, it really came to its fore with the likes of Whitesnake and so forth as well. Who was your inspiration back in the early 80s then for you to start playing this style of music?
Okay, actually, my first love was for bands of the 70s, because my older brother was listening to hard rock music. That's why I became a musician, probably. And so he was listening to Deep Purple and Whitesnake and Led Zeppelin, and all the the usual suspects. And so I grew up with those. But my first real love was Iron Maiden. So Iron Maiden and Killers were just my main influences as a guitar player in the beginning for the band Danger Zone, and we were listening to that. Then, of course, Def Leppard came and other bands from England, but we started to hear to different styles, and so we slowly shifted to a more melodic approach of the songwriting and everything. The first album was quite more into that kind of British sound, like new wave of British heavy metal. So we had some songs that were kind of reminding that sound that we were listening with Iron Maiden and stuff like that. But then we moved to something different with new demo tapes. We started making some different with a different approach. We started the songwriting with a different approach, and probably more melodic. Yeah.
So I think they call it, was it AOAR or something, isn't it? Original American Rock or something like that, isn't it? It's kind of called. So, so would you say your style then you kind of switched from that more heavier or heavy rock to more American style rock as an influence? And if I'm correct in saying, because one of the things I was listening to your latest album again today, and I went, like, God, I could just picture you, because I went to all the big gigs from like Monsters of Rock and all the big gigs kind of in the 80s. And I was like, yeah, I feel like I've kind of like I've not heard your music, but I felt I would have watched you. I feel like I could have been watching you like back in the 80s, because and it's fair to say that Shut Up is very much that 80s style kind of rock music from that perspective. But and I have to filter out a lot of what I call generic albums, and I don't mean generic as it is boring, but it's generic in terms of its origins, that from that 80s kind of style music. And I get quite funny, like, well, we're trying to keep the flame alive. Well, trust me, there's a lot of bands out there trying to keep the flame alive, and they're not very good either. And what listening to your album today was very much that I felt. I'd be interested to kind of get your perspective. Is that there's a lot of bands that are mimicking the 80s, but they don't sound authentic. Whereas I feel that you own that music. The music was yours. It was like I felt I was listening to a little bit of Def Leppard on times. I felt I was listening to a bit of this, but at the same time, I just had that Danger Zone sense of identity, and it felt, as I say, there's a lot of bands that we were listening to an album today, and it's very much with AC/DC as its kind of blueprint, but it was sailing way too close to ripping off a lot of AC/DC's riffs, etc., rather than basing it on AC/DC. Whereas I felt yours was very much an authentic feel to it, and it was felt that it was your own sound.
Thank you very much for your compliment, because I really, it's probably one of the best things that you could say about our band, I think. And so thank you again, because actually you just pointed out the fact that we grew up with that music, but it's kind of our DNA. We are not trying to mimic something just because it's cool or people like it. Actually, the idea of the title of the album, Shut Up, it's come from that. It means, okay, we do this kind of music, you don't like it, shut up, it's your problem, it's not our problem. At this point, at my age, I couldn't care less. I'm not trying to get something out of this. We all know how the music business is today. So we're not doing this for the money. We're not doing this because we would like to go and be the next rock star, because of course it's not gonna happen. Not in this time, not at our age. So we already tried, to be, we already did the all-in thing when we moved to LA in 1992, and we tried our best to do, to make it. But, now what we're trying to do is just making the best music that we can in the style that we like the most. And I agree with you that sometimes I hear new records coming out that they do sounds, too much like something else, and it's kind of disturbing to me, because you should really try harder to do something a little more unique. But we have a really strong connection with that time, with that period, of the music scene, and so it's natural that we are trying to get that sound more than the songs, so we're trying to stay away from riffs and stuff that reminds other songs. And but at the same time, since I produced the album, so that was my responsibility. I was trying really hard to get this album sounds like an album from the 80s, but with, the technique and the sounds that we have today. So kind of updated, but that remind me that kind of emotion that I was getting. And while we were recording and I was listening music at the gym and I was having this playlist from Spotify, I was listening and I was pointing out that certain songs of the 80s had a certain quality that I wanted to be in the album, So as a producer, I tried to make the sound of the band the more, in the style at the same time that reminded me that period of the music that I really liked. Because when I listened to those records, I still feel that emotion, and so that was my goal. And if you feel the same, I'm really honored because that was my goal.
So this show's all about a journey. So let's go back to the 90s then. So you actually, as a band, did you all move to LA? Is that what you're saying? You packed your bags and you moved to LA and you tried to break into America. How did you go about doing that? When you got to LA, were you just like trying to play local gigs? How did you attempt to conquer America?
Yeah, the thing was that we had an album that was produced at the end of the 80s, like 1989 and beginning of the 1990. And we had some American producer coming here in Italy for 6 months, and we worked with them and we did this album that was called Line of Fire. And the problem is that the manager that paid for that record tried to sell this record in the US market, and some lawyers there in Los Angeles really didn't do a great job with that. They were trying to selling the album for a certain amount of money that was probably too much for a new band coming from Europe, and so they were having trouble to selling the master to a record company. Okay, so at one point we decided that we waited enough, and we were seeing that they were wasting too much time. So we decided to sell most of our instruments, and we moved. That's all, simple as that. So we just sold most of what we had, and we went there. We shipped all the rest of the equipment to Los Angeles, and we bought a van, we rented a house, and we started to do, like every other hard rock band that was there. When we were there were at least other 5,000 bands trying to make it there. But the thing is that there were so many clubs and so many opportunities to play live. That was amazing. It was incredible. And so it was easy to do shows for record companies, like showcases. And so we played at the Whiskey, another, really important club like the FM station, etc., etc. And so you had a real opportunity being there to be seen. Okay, so that was the goal. Problem was that while we were there, the Nirvana wave came strong, and everybody just changed everything from one day to the other. We played in a club in Hollywood Boulevard, and the week after the club closed down. Wow. Everything was just changing so fast. That was incredible, because that was the next wave, and they're really fast there, on changing the scene. So we came too late. That's the problem. So we did some important shows. We played with AC/DC's drummer at the Whiskey A Go Go, and we had a record company coming for us, and they said, "Guys, you're okay, you're good, but the problem is that we are dropping our main band now." So they were dropping Hardline, right? The band with Neil Schon. So at that point, when you drop a band with Neil Schon in, while Journey were still selling 2 million copies a year, even they were not a band anymore, but they were still selling 2 million copies a year. And so a band with Neil Schon in was just dropped from the record company. So we understood that there were no chance for a new band to get a deal at that point.
Yeah.
So at that point, we decided to break up.
So that was what was that in? Was that
1993?
That was 1993. And when did you get back together?
2010.
2010. Right.
Yeah, because I stayed there in LA for another year, and then I came back in Europe a year later because I decided that I want to be a session player. Actually, first I did a gig. I did I tried to with the Gotthard, the band from Switzerland. I played with them in Switzerland, but then I decided to be a session player, and so I moved with other kind of music and other stuff. And later on, like in 2010, we decided to get back together again, just for release the famous Line of Fire that we didn't release in 1990. And then we started again doing records. So we did Undying and Closer to Heaven, etc.
Wow. Okay. It's Trish time. This is where Trish comes in, mid-interview, comes in, and otherwise I'll be in trouble, Roberto, if I do not let Trish have her questions. We're in trouble. So, you're terrible. You text me, you WhatsApp me. Oi, my turn, she says. I'm only teasing. Trish, ask away. It's Trish time.
Okay, so first question I'm going to ask is, how did you come up with the name of the band?
Oh, the name Danger Zone. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a long time ago. I was just I was looking for a name that was, strong, and then one day I just came with this idea of Dangers. I don't remember where I heard that, but I said, yeah, that is cool, so I said, guys, I have a name for the band, Danger Zone. Oh, okay. It started just like that, simple as that. And then we kept this name that probably wasn't really a great name for a band for American hard rock, but that was already our name, and we kept it, just the legacy of, that was our name. So, yeah, that was it.
Cool. What's the best show or tour you've ever played, and why was it so special?
Well, probably the one that I remember, it was the first time that we played at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles. I have a funny story about that show because it was 1988. It was the first time for us in the US, and we didn't move yet. We just went there to see how the scene was and everything. You have to understand that you know that at that time you just could read things from Kerrang or paper. So we had this magazine in Italy called HM Heavy Metal, and there was this report from the Sunset Strip, and they had this picture of this place, and we saw this place and we said, wow, it's incredible, all these clubs, all these people listening to heavy metal and hard rock, okay, we have to go there. And we went there for 1 month. We went in the US, and we decided to pass along some demo tapes, okay, and we gave the demo tape to the Whiskey. And they called back at the hotel, say, do you guys want to play? And we said, what? You want to play? I said, yes. So we just went to the music store and we bought everything we could, and we rented the rest, and we bought some dresses and stuff. And so by, the time of the day, we went to the gig. It was a Monday. It was this session where they let play like 4 or 5 bands. It was the Monday session. Okay, so we were supposed to play 5 or 6 songs, and everything, and the show started probably at 9:30. I don't remember. And we got there probably at 7:30, and we just sat in the changing room, all quiet, and we were so, it was so intense because we knew that club was the club where everything started, from the Doors to Jimi Hendrix to Guns N' Roses to Van Halen. Everybody went there and became famous in that club. So I felt like a priest that is going to say mass in St. Peter, instead of the Pope.
Go to the holy temple of rock.
Yeah, that's it. So we were all quiet in the dressing room. At one point, one guy from the security came in to see if everything was okay, because we were so quiet. Nobody. Yeah, we were just.
Yeah, these
like
Italian heavy rockers are very polite, aren't they? Yeah, well, the Italians are.
Too much. So, and when the other band came in, everybody was throwing pizzas and beers and everything, and so it was incredible because that place is magic. It's the place where everybody played, and I've seen amazing shows after in that place also. So. That was probably a concert that I will always remember, because that was the first time for us to playing there.
It's a brilliant memory. It's a brilliant story. So right, Trish, next question.
Okay, I have 2 more questions and then I'll hand back to you, Nige.
Oh, well, I might let you only have one. I'm joking.
Well,
I'm joking.
I'll have 2. What's the best advice you've been given as a musician?
The best advice that
you've had,
that I've had, it came from Jody Gray, a producer that worked with us in Line of Fire and is still working with us. He's a great friend of us, and we became friends during the recording of Line of Fire in 1989. And after the recording, he told me, just remember, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. And I really didn't understand that at that time, because at that time my commitment for Danger Zone was 150%, because I throw everything inside the band, all my personal life, I quit my job, I did everything I could, to make that thing happen. And he was wise, he was older than me, he was wiser, he was telling me, okay, it's okay to try to do the best for this, but remember, try to get a B plan, try to get connection and stuff, and try to stay safe in case something is going to happen to the band. And of course, that's a great advice, because music business is hard, it's really hard, and now it's harder than ever. So if I start to talk with some young kid now trying to play as a professional, I would say the same at this point. Just try to be prepared to a B plan.
My final question.
So did you say when he was talking to a young kid, he was obviously talking about me, by the way?
Yeah, it was Nige. God damn it. What is your favourite song on the album Shut Up?
I don't care.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
I was thinking he didn't care and he wasn't going to answer the question, but it's track number 4 of the album, isn't it? I don't care.
I've written Evil and I Don't Care. See?
And my favourite is none of those.
Well, it wouldn't be, would it?
No, because mine is Run from the Madness.
Run. I was saying that.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. Love it.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, I was just watching today on the Spotify artist page. I have all the insight of who's listening and what and whatever. And Run is the most listened song in the album right now. Yeah, wow. It became the number 1.
That's you, Nige.
Right, so Matteo Minghetti, your vocalist.
Yep.
Has he always been with you as right at the beginning, or?
You mean the singer? You mean the singer Giga Giacomo Gigantelli, the singer?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matteo,
sorry.
Matteo
Bass,
Minghetti is the bass player. Yes.
Giacomo
Yes.
Gigantelli. Has he been with you right from the beginning?
Yeah, Giga. Yes. Actually, no. In Victim of Time, we had another singer.
Right.
And in 1986, probably, when we started to shift, to a different kind of sound, we were, looking for a singer that was more into the hard rock melodic scene. And so Giga came in. He's from another town. He's not from Bologna as we are. So we started to do some auditions with people coming from all Italy. And we found him. He was actually a bass player and singer in another band in Verona. And we did this, we rehearsed together, and we started, the first song that we played together was Into the Fire of Dokken. And we just started to play that song. After one chorus, I watched the other guitar player and said, that's him, because...
It's kind of true, because like I switch off when I start listening to a band, because I go through about 60 albums down to 16 that we then review each month. So the fact you get into the 16 is great. But as soon as the 80s style singer comes on, and within like 5 choruses, they then go try to hit that high note, which you've heard 1,000 times before, you go, oh, not again. Oh, and I get turned off. And what I liked about his vocals, it was somewhere, I felt he was like, if I could take the lead singer of AC/DC and the lead singer of Def Leppard and put them together, you'd have his voice in that way. And it's and what I loved about it was it's like he wasn't doing the screamo, not even screamo, but high pitched like 80s style. Well, we've done that before. Once you've heard one, you've heard them all. It was very kind of really, really good heavy rock, but very contained, and I loved his voice. So please pass on. I absolutely, you listen to the album.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved his voice. It was absolutely terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not trying too hard to try to reach those high notes just for the fun of it. It's just singing high when it's supposed to be context, high.
Absolutely.
In the contest, yes, but it's not overdoing. It's not overdoing. And I also kind of make jokes about those kind of stuff where everybody's like all the time, and it's it's kind of funny, because after 2 or 3 times you reach those high notes like that, it's okay, thanks, enough.
Just boring. Right, now if I was watching this video and I would be saying to me, if I could I would be begging the interviewer to do this thing, which I'm going to do, which is your guitar collection is goddamn amazing behind you. So I want you now to go and pick your favourite guitar from that rack and show us your favourite guitar.
Damn.
No? Okay.
Actually.
I'd be crying out if I was watching this video to ask that question.
Okay. Tough question, but I can do it.
Yay!
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. I
knew it. I knew it was going to be the green one. I knew it was going to be the green one. So there we go.
Okay.
Why is it your favourite though?
This is a 1986 Ibanez, or 1987 Ibanez, Steve Vai model. This guitar, I picked this one because this is the guitar that I used to record Line of Fire in 1989. This actually belonged to the other guitar player, and while we were in the studio and I was before I started to recording the guitar, I needed a guitar to change a pickup, and I used this guitar that was of the other guitar player, and I started to play it. I said, okay, I'm going to record the album with this one. Then he sold me the guitar after the recording, and I kept this one, and this one was with me in Los Angeles when we moved there. Okay, so this guitar has been with me since then, and you can tell from the scratches and all the things that, a battle guitar like this one, it just came out, this thing, it just fell off. And so it's been beaten. But at the end, this one is the guitar that I used to play all the rhythmic guitar in Shut Up. So yeah, this is probably the one that I would pick. I mean, I have some nice guitars, and I use all of them, but with this one, there is a particular kind of feeling because, this is really, has been with me for such a long time that...
Okay, so the other question then is, if you could have a chance to duet with one of all the great guitarists of rock that have been in the rock, who would you choose to duet with on a rock stage?
Okay. Yeah. Problem is that probably I would feel ashamed to do it. But if I was supposed to do it anyway, I would choose, George Lynch, probably.
Okay.
George Lynch. Yeah. Or Warren DeMartini. One of those two. And of course, I would have chosen probably Van Halen, but at this point, I would say George Lynch would be my next guess, probably the next that I would love to.
Fantastic. So listen, your new album, which is Shut Up, how proud of you? How does this compare to the other albums you've done? Do you think this is some of your best work? In terms of all the albums you've released before.
Well, somehow this one, I think it reflects more what I wanted to say music-wise. Even with my guitar, with the sound of the guitar, and sound-wise, and probably also the composition of most of the songs are probably something that I really, keep feeling that was the right thing to do. And I mean, with the previous album, Don't Count on Heroes, we experimented some different things. We made a song with the piano, and we tried different things because we started to have a keyboard player in the band, and so we discovered the different kind of arrangement. And so I'm still really proud of that album, but this one, it's more probably back to the basics of the hard rock music. That's what I like, no frills. And Shut Up is just that, it's a really heavy guitar riff, and that's probably only what you need in hard rock music. You need the power, the energy, and of course it needs to be well played, and everything should be in the right place, but you also want that kind of raw energy that this album probably has more than the previous one.
Very good. And are you touring? Are you going to be touring at all with the album? Or
we are playing right now in some clubs here in the area, and we are trying to get some spots in some different festival for this next summer. It's not really easy because right now all those spots are difficult to get, because money and everything, it's really tight. And so right now the music scene is really complicated, to say at least.
Absolutely. It always is. Life is complicated, Roberto. And Roberto, I tell you what hasn't been complicated, but it's been lovely and simple and easy. It's been this interview. It's been wonderful. On behalf of thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing your wonderful stories and your history. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So, good luck with the album. We rated it quite highly. It didn't quite get into our Hall of Fame, but we liked the album and we rated it well. And so it is a very good heavy rock album. So go and check out Shut Up by Danger Zone. And anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to my wonderful co-host. Thank you very much, Roberto. Show. Keep on rocking, and please, and if people like the show, what have they got to do, Roberto? What have they got to do? They got to like, and they've got to
subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Like
Yes.
and subscribe. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody. Keep on rocking.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Wow, thanks. Bye.
Bye.